How do you track what parts of the website are actually making money?
So for any website, to track which pages are making you money, you need analytics. And with that, you want to think of Hotjar, Google Analytics 4, Microsoft Clarity, because those are tools that help you track cookies, which a lot of people don't understand, but cookies are small data packets that are saved on your browser. And using cookies, we can see which pages people are landing on before getting to the contact forms. And when you use analytics, you can also see which landing pages are getting the most leads. And essentially, you can also just do simple mathematics where you look at how many people are getting onto the contact page versus how many people are actually filling in the contact information. A lot of people we see don't really take into account or don't pay a lot of attention to tracking, and they don't just track deep enough. So you may have a website that's maybe getting you a few leads here and there, but you don't really know what's working. And without understanding what exactly is working, it's incredibly difficult for you to be able to replicate that on other pages, other businesses, or to even just understand what's going to help you scale up.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. How do you help brands speak to premium clients instead of the average customer?
So you have to understand the customer behavior, what they value, what they care about. Uh, Something about premium clients is that they always have somebody trying to sell them something. When somebody is generating a lot of revenue, they get a lot of visibility out there. There's always somebody trying to propose something to them. There's somebody trying to sell them something. Now, with this kind of clientele, you want to know that they want to feel understood. They want to know that you're telling a story which resonates with them, their problems, the things they value, their outlook and perspective of life. And something we've seen a lot of high end or premium clients is that they care about quality and deliverability, reliability, as opposed to price.
Hmm.
And so your website needs to take into account all of that. It's about the storytelling, the messaging, what call to actions are you using, and how are you building trust. Essentially,
Okay.
your website needs to say, this is what we do, this is who we do it for, we have done this before, and this is how we can help you. Those
Okay.
are the key principles to selling to a premium client.
Hmm. It's very important for people to understand the psychology behind how to sell to premium clients. It's very different from selling to the average customer. So it's something people should really, really, really pay attention to how you are. Everything coming down to your website, what you need to do. There are certain things that you need to do on your site to optimize for that. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Conversion rate optimization is what we
yeah,
call it, or CRO in short.
CRO, yeah,
You want to optimize the pages for your target audience, and you would never know the target audience unless you're working with a strategic partner. That's where firms like ours come in. That's where ad partners like you come in.
yeah,
You
exactly,
need to work with professionals who have a lot of data, a lot of experience, people who have been in the trenches and they know what works, what doesn't work, and how do you deal with what's not working, how do you optimize what's working. And
okay.
without that, you're essentially just guessing. And pardon my French, but it's like throwing shit at the
At
wall
the
and trying to
word,
see what
what
sticks.
sticks, yeah. So you need to be
Yeah,
very precise in
you need to be very precise.
everything that you're doing has to have a very high intent.
Exactly.
So what do you think will happen if a business double their conversion rate without more ad spend? What do you think about that?
So to double your conversion rate, first of all, let me add a bit of context. That's conversion rate optimization. When you double your conversion rate, you're cutting down the cost of acquiring new clients or new leads or making a sale. So think of it this way: if you're spending 200,000 shillings monthly on your ads, if you double your conversion rate from 1% to 2%, essentially it's like you're spending 100,000 on ads now. It's no longer 200,000. That's what uh, doubling your conversion rate is going to do. And the higher your conversion rate, uh, the less money you're spending if you look at it mathematically and in terms of data.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you'll be acquiring more leads while spending the same amount of money on ads.
Yeah, yeah, makes so much sense. So, do you think most websites have clear, confident call to action?
Whether most websites have clear, confident call to actions?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. And we know this because as of today, we have more than 1.1 billion websites on the internet. And
Hmm.
can I ask you, what do you think most of these websites have in common? 1.1 billion websites on the internet today.
All of them. Okay, they all have, of course, they have a call to action,
Yeah,
but most of them, I'll say 90% of them, they don't know what they're doing. That's what I can say.
exactly. They don't know what they're doing. And I might even go on to add and say that something that most of these websites have in common is that they're not making any money.
Yeah,
So for you to have a website that generates revenue and works as an asset for your business, you need to consider the call to actions in your website.
yeah,
And for you to come up with the proper call to actions, you need to understand how the customers go about making a purchase decision on your website, how they go about contacting your business. And most websites, you ask me whether they have the right call to action. And we've done a lot of website redesigns for businesses. We tend to have a lot of clients who come in with a website that they got when they were starting, and at that point, they didn't have a budget for it. And in my honest opinion, and my firm, we don't recommend that if you don't have the budget for a website, you shouldn't get a website
yeah,
because it's an asset. But like any other asset, there is inputs for it to have an output. So you find that they did a website, they got somebody off of Fiverr, they paid very little money, or they got a student in university who's still learning what to do, and they got a shoddy website that nothing has been done correctly. And some of the bad call to actions that we've seen are learn more. A lot of times you see websites, they have a hero section with a bit of copy, captivating image, and then they say learn more.
mm,
What am I learning more about? Is it your business? Is it you, the founder? Is it about my problem? What am I learning more about?
yeah,
So you always want to have action driven call to action buttons on your website, which is book a call, book now, reserve a spot, book a seat, request a quote, request a callback. All those are things that drive a user to take action because they understand, okay, this is what you do, this is who you do it for, this is why I should trust you, and then this is the next step that I should take. And that can lead them to a contact page. It can lead them to your, if you're using a, CRM tool like HubSpot or Calendly to maybe book a spot or reservation. You can even lead them to any other place that you prefer people to contact you, and it could be your WhatsApp, it could be anything, but you want to use action oriented call to action buttons because there's a reason why it's called a call to action. You're asking people to take an action, but then you need to know what do you want these people to do. Learn more is the worst thing that we've ever seen, and we see a lot of businesses still doing it in this decade, which is
yeah.
just incredible.
It's
Incredible.
incredible. Yeah. So learn more is a really people are always defaulted to using learn more. It's so vague. There's
It's so
no
vague.
people really don't know. Okay, well, what am I like? It's so vague, and they need to change that. I think so.
Yeah,
Definitely.
with this, you always need to approach what you're doing from the customer's perspective.
Okay.
And when you have a team that builds a strategy for you, we do a lot of the testing for you so that you don't have to go into the field to find people to ask questions. And we tend to establish where the friction points are. We come up with the questions that clients understand.
Okay.
And something that a lot of people don't know this, but we tell this to a lot of our clients is that we tend to test with so many people, so many demographics. And me personally, for any project that I've done, I tend to share it with my father and mother. I
Mm,
show it to them, and they are complete strangers. They are, I think, what you'd consider boomers.
yeah.
So they're not very sophisticated, I say, when it comes to technology, but they have an idea of what they want.
Yeah.
So when I
Exactly.
show them a tool and it's confusing to them, I'm like, okay, we need to do something about this.
Immediately. Yeah.
Change the wording. You want to use simple language, and you want to make it about them.
Yeah. Okay. Makes so much sense. So let's say a business is doing like more than 3 M in revenue a month. Okay.
That'll be three
S-
million shillings. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 million shillings per month. So do you think guesswork is still acceptable in that kind of in that level when you want to scale past 3 million shillings?
So when you're doing more than 3 million shillings, uh, I'm sure as a business you already figured out a lot of things that work with the business side of things. You know where to source the products, you know how to manage your human resource, and you probably have a few tools that you're already working with. But then at that point, you need to take out guesswork, which in this context, I'm thinking you refer to just trying different things and then looking at the overall outcome. Like, oh, let's add this in these pages, and then, oh, maybe there is a spike in revenue, but you don't really pay attention to what exactly caused that spike. So at that point, we highly recommend that you need to incorporate a lot of data driven decision making into your processes. You need to have a budget for ads, but then on top of that, you also need to have tracking. You need to understand what's working, what's not working. And when you're going beyond that stage, you can never stop testing. Testing is important, but at this point, you're not guessing. You're testing while looking at the data. When you're growing to that point, you probably already have an idea of a lot of things. And when you're dealing with ad partners such as uh,
Exactly.
Ian here, he does testing a lot. And you've told
Exactly.
me several times you have clients running up to 50 different ads at the same time,
Yeah.
and you're always looking at the numbers. And on the CRO and web design side of things, we tend to do the same. We have analytics, we have Clarity, where we can, Microsoft Clarity allows us to watch recordings of how people are interacting with your website.
Okay.
Somebody is seeing the website is taking too long to load and they click right off. We see that. If a client is spending a lot of time on a specific section of your website, we understand that. And we have a lot of theories, and we tend to have your target demographic come over and actually test our product and give us feedback, and we understand where the friction points are. And I
Mm.
think tackling these friction points are key, and getting client feedback are extremely important and crucial when you're trying to scale up beyond that 3 million shillings mark, because the tactics that got you here are not the same that are going to get you up there to compete with the actual brands and businesses that are now scaling way up beyond the 3 million shillings mark.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, there's when you're doing let's say 3M in revenue per month, Kenya
Yes,
shillings, there's an aspect where you know what's working. Okay, you already have an idea.
exactly. You're not a
You're
beginner.
not a beginner. For you to go from 3M, let's say to 5M or past 3M, you have to shift a little bit of your perspective on how you're going, your strategy. That is.
Exactly. It's all about
So
strategy.
yeah, for you, what to go to here, want to go to there. So
Exactly.
you have to understand like how you're going to improve every time you want to climb the ladder of revenue ladder. So from 0 to 3M, at least you have an idea of what's working.
Yeah.
You're in the right direction, but you can't get comfortable. You can't just say, okay, now I'm good. So this will whatever got me here will get me to another destination, but it doesn't work that way. You need to always be optimizing. You need to be testing. You need to try different things. I need to bring
Exactly.
an expert that will take it to the next level. Most branch will really take a keynote on that. What got you here won't get you there. You need to always be testing and trying different things and bringing an expert who can get you to the next level.
Exactly. I mean, when you say what got you here, want to get you there, you have to think of it as a lemonade stand. When you
Yeah,
start selling, or when your kids start selling lemonade out in the street, there are certain tactics that will work for them. You may have certain posters drawn with crayons. That may get them a few sales, but when they go on from that to now having a kiosk, the tactics change.
yeah,
And then they go on from doing a kiosk to partnering with brands to sell their products. They're going to employ different tactics. And when they scale up beyond that to a point where they now have their own soft drink with their own branding and their own marketing, they're going to employ different tactics. So you cannot just rely on the same things that you're doing before, because that's stagnation. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results,
yeah,
it doesn't work that way. And when you're looking to compete with the actual industry players, and in this context, I want you to think of it as when you go onto the internet and you search for, let's say, running shoes,
yeah.
one of the key brands that you're going to see pop up is Nike,
Nike.
Adidas, maybe New Balance. When you're searching, maybe Finance, there are certain brands that are going to show up. And when you're scaling up beyond the 3M mark, you need to employ similar tactics that those brands are employing to compete with them.
Yeah.
So with that, you need to take a lot of the guesswork. And we live in the data-driven age where we use data-driven tactics and data analytics to make sense of all the noise. So
Yeah,
you want to be a lot more precise in your decision making. You want to do a lot of testing, and you want to look at what's working, what isn't working, and figure out why certain things are not working for you.
exactly. Yeah, we can all agree to that.